Yes, sir. It's wild, man. It's discouraging when you hear stories like this. It's like It makes you wonder. Like, for me, we know we have hope in the Lord, but then it's like, yeah, but there's so much wickedness and evilness going on within our own crew. Like, it just adds fuel to the fire. To the non-believers, right?
Constantly. I feel like that's a big thing. That's under a microscope all the time.
I understand why people say, like, they're kind of like closet Christians in a way, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't mean it's right, but...
No. But
it's easier than hearing it from all sides of people. Like, well, doesn't your church do this? Doesn't this?
Yeah. And it's funny because people are looking for that kind of a problem. More so after they hear that. Yeah. Just constant reminder how broken we are.
I was having a conversation with a dude yesterday, actually, and we were talking about that. He actually used to go to the church that we did, and he was telling me that he doesn't fellowship anymore, but he's, typical like religious. I have faith and all that. I just don't go to an organized church.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, while listening to him, I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, but
yeah,
I'm saying it's right because the Bible does speak about like not forsaking the gathering of the church.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing. There's a few young men that I've met that have walked away like that at work. And they're very they know the word, they served, they've been in ministry, they've done all that. So but I think a lot of them are in that young phase where they they're not being forced to go to church no more. They have the decision whether to go on their own.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hurt there for some reason. Seems like there's always this hurt. I've seen it.
It does, right?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. And it's always based on the leaders or situations or things that just didn't go well, which seems to be common too. But
I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to excuses, and some are valid, right? I don't want to make it seem like it's not, but
because everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Everybody has. Church hurt is a real thing.
Yeah.
Whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
But I always try to point people back when I do have that conversation. I was like, yeah, dude, but there is church hurt. Like, I've been hurt by the church. One of a quote that I heard by a pastor was saying, it's not if you get hurt by a church, it's when. And
that's heavy.
The thing about that is, if it's a hospital for the sick, then why would you expect it to be perfect? You know what I mean?
That's very true. That's very true.
But that doesn't deny the fact that it's hard to deal with other people.
Dude, it's hard, bro. It's hard dealing with people.
So how do you deal with it in your own life? When you get annoyed, what's something that you do to kind of like calm down, or you know what I mean?
Lately, I'll have to take a step back. Our work's been pretty. I've been pretty challenged there, because I'm not used to being in that position, and then being attentive to everybody's needs at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then this new thing that happened recently. Someone told me is that someone new came in, right? And because if I give everybody attention, and I didn't give this new person attention, the person got hurt, like emotionally. But it's because the person may be in a different place than other people, but
like because you're ignoring them? Is that what?
Yeah, but I didn't ignore it in a bad way. That person's still new to me, so I didn't really give them the opportunity to, like, I don't know. I didn't give them enough attention, I guess, at that moment. So that person got hurt, like, what's wrong with me?
Mm.
And another friend of ours, she's pastor's wife. pretty strong believer, and she kind of just, she didn't want to tell me at first, but then I kind of pulled it out of her, and then she told me. And she told it was Felicia too. So we both kind of like overlooked her at that moment, and I don't know. But I was telling my other buddy that's my manager, I was like, dude, being a leader it's not easy, especially if you're at work or in general. Because, you know, you're giving everybody the same attitude and the same face at all the time. And it's like you're on 24/7. There's no like, oh, I'm going to take a break today. I'm not going to be happy today, and I'm just going to ignore you, but I'll just talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
I try to do that, but
it won't work though.
Yeah, it doesn't work. You're right.
But yeah, that was pretty.
Listen, man, dealing with people in general is hard enough, and then when you add like your faith to it, and you're supposed to be like the peacemakers, the the meek. That adds an extra gear of it's like, golly, dude, I'm just trying to love Jesus and do what I'm called to do and these people, But I think that's a good reflection for me. It's like these people. It's like, you mean like you?
Yeah,
you do the same exact thing.
You always reminded me of that when I was teaching like at the middle school or when we do junior high.
Yeah.
When I had some young men that were always wilding out when the study's going, but I remember you telling me the same thing. You're like, remember you were that age, or remember you were there? Because I would be frustrated. I was like, why are they doing this right now? I'm like, so disrespectful. I was like,
why? Because they're like 11 to 13 years old, and you want them to be like perfect gentlemen.
Yeah.
Let me get the towels. Keep talking.
Like you're supposed to be all knowing this by now. You're supposed to have it all figured out.
You mean you don't? I mean. Jeez.
You were very good at reminding me that at times, so I appreciate that support.
I was only very good at reminding that because that was constantly running through my mind, like, relax, you guys are idiots, but they're only like 13 years old.
But
let me know if it's too hot.
Okay. No, you're good. Actually feels really good. It was cold when I got here. Yeah.
Nah, man, it's hard dealing with people, like I said, in general, but
yeah.
Again, when you add the love of Christ to the mix, to people who don't recognize this, like, dude, don't you realize I'm trying to love on you right now?
Yeah.
But
and you learn a lot though from loving different people like that.
I think you learn a lot from different people in general, right?
Yeah, because they're different walks of life, different places.
I don't think it serves a good purpose when you're boxed into a certain way of thinking.
Yeah.
Or even if that people group like means well, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I think you need to have different perspectives and different views on things, and
yeah, you can't be like you said in a box.
Yeah, in a box.
I get that.
It's not gonna work out too well for you.
No. That's another habit I'm trying to keep developed, and just be quick to listen, slow to speak.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
So when's the fishing podcast coming out?
Well, we're just waiting for the weather to warm up.
All this stinking rain, dude, is like, golly. Is it ever gonna end?
That weather app's lying, bro. Because I was telling Felicia on the way home, I'm like, it said 60%, and we were driving. She was driving. I was like, I can't even see out the window. Like, it's just pouring.
Wild, dude.
We were like getting this comparison. She didn't know if I told her I thought it was 60. That's how much rain is going to be, or the percentage of the rain. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I meant the percentage. Because I was like, it's sure raining a lot. But no, the fishing's getting a little. Every lake this one lake that we do in Almani that me and Isaiah have been going to, it's completely full. It got filled up like tremendously. I haven't got to see it, but he's been showing me pictures. He went yesterday, and he said there a few fish came up to bite, but I don't know how it's gonna be now because the water stirs everything up when it rains.
So how did you get interested in fishing and all that?
What happened? Something reignited that fire.
So you had started before.
When I used to live right here in Pico, down the street. When I used to live on Passons, I had a group of guys. It was just me, One guy that lives right next to Jasmine, 2 houses down where they live right now, where Monkey and Jasmine live. Mm-hmm. He lives 2 doors down. I used to play.
Don't be giving out addresses, dog. Right?
No. But that area.
Yeah.
I used to play. We used to play baseball in the back right there. Cause there's a field. So.
Really?
Yeah. So we just used to hop the fence and just play.
Wow.
But I grew up on that street pretty much because that's where my best friend was.
I don't know why I thought you were from Monterey Park the entire time.
No. That came after. That's from after my mom remarried. But yeah, that was it was a couple of us. It was me, another guy named Ray, another guy John, and I don't know what drove us to, but we rode our bikes to Lake, and that was a mission we enjoyed. Popped our tires from there and back. That was so horrible. But we had fishing poles. We competed. It was lefties against righties, and then that was it.
What does that mean, lefties against?
So they would fit. They're left-handers, and me and my other buddy was a right-hander.
So the cast hand.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So everything was done, but they were always out fishing us. So that was.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know.
They had better bait.
Honestly, now I fish left-handed, so that is a weird thing. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I feel more comfortable with the left hand. I've caught more that way.
What's like your dream spot if you could go anywhere in the world to fish? What kind of fish and where would it be?
Dream spot. Yeah. There's this place in Texas where the guy that makes the baits. That's one I've heard of, but it's like a resort. So you pay for the resort and then you can go fish on the lake. So it's pretty cool. There's some
sick.
Pretty big bass there.
There's like some spots in Texas. There's actually like a famous musician. I forgot which one it is, but he has like his own ranch. He could go hunting on there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing like that. That's pretty sick.
Have you ever been hunting?
No, I would like to, but I don't know how that's gonna work. Maybe I'll be able to do it. I don't know.
I like to go at least once in my life, to get that experience.
One of my buddies, the guide, he does that too. I think he guides on that.
Oh, like
hunting.
What does he do? Like big game or
deer hunting.
Deer hunting?
Yeah.
You gotta like know the ins and outs of that. You can't just go and because like they could smell your scent from a certain way.
Yeah.
So if the air changes, the air direction changes.
Yeah, they're very
like super sensitive.
Dude, I heard they already understand gunshots from somebody I had talked to that would hunt in Mexico. They know gunshots from a distance already.
Really?
Like the deer are already on top of it. The whole herd and the whole pack, because they hunt, I guess, a lot in Mexico.
So it's kind of like they're used to that in their ecological system.
Yeah, I think just same thing with fish too. I think they're used to certain techniques and they know what line looks like. I think I'm gonna guess they do.
It makes you think like how smart they actually are, right?
Yeah.
It's like, don't they say like dolphins have like a bigger brain than humans do?
Yeah, I believe that.
Did you see that one meme where the dude was in the ER with the swordfish through his thigh?
Yeah.
Oh, do you think that was real?
No, they said it was fake because the way it was moving, I think that one was fake. I know what you're talking about. It was like a swordfish or something, or marlin. Yeah, it looked pretty gruesome. I don't know why the fish would be alive that long all the way up there.
Man.
That'd be pretty crazy though,
Are you saying the internet's lying?
I don't know. I have a hunch. I have a little bit of hunch.
Oh, man. Yeah. Imagine that, dude. You just come back. That'd be a story to tell for sure, though.
Well, at least he caught the marlin, right?
When I first saw it, you know how Mario's Tacos used to have the swordfish hung up on the wall?
Oh, the one in
I thought
Pico?
it was like that. Yeah. I was like, oh, they closed Mario's down? Why?
That's why.
That was the backstory of how they got him.
That's a pretty sick backstory. Yeah, but hopefully, I think it's going to be good this year because this is the most water I've seen in a while. And I think it's going to be good for the fish. They say it is. All the bait's going to come up. There's more hiding spots. That's all like key.
How much time do you invest in like researching all this stuff, like patterns of fish and what they feed on, or what's the best bait? Like, how do you find out?
Lately, the
Just
past couple of
YouTube?
months has been a little hard, but yeah, usually I would YouTube everything, follow all the people I follow. They have a podcast now. a Cast and Crank podcast. And that guy gets usually all the locals on, and he's been pretty homegrown. I got to talk to him just recently. I didn't know he grew up in Whittier, so I got to chop it up with him. It was really cool.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, cool. And we got even deeper into stories because like I found out his wife knew some like neighborhoods that I knew of right there, and I was just like, whoa! I was like, no, but it was it's interesting because like we're all older heads, so it's like to hear that I'm like I'm glad everybody's like doing something different now, you know, doing different things. He does a pretty cool thing. He does a big toy drive every year now. He's done the second one. I'm pretty sure he's gonna do a third one.
Isn't it cool to hear stories like that? You know, like everybody has a past, right? But you know, like that guy in particular, like you say he grew up in the streets like you. Yeah. And now he went from that life to doing fishing and, you know, thinking of other people by toy drives. And
it's reassuring. Yeah. It's a breath of fresh air to hear that because he was even like, I even kind of told him what I was doing, what my goal is with the kids and just trying to get them out fishing. And he's like, just hit me up. He's like, you need help with something? I'm down. And I was like, oh, it's love. I was like, I appreciate that.
So how long have you been serving at the, what is it, Young Life?
Yeah, Young Life.
So how did you guys get into that? What is it exactly?
So it's, the simple way to put it is just being a mentor to these kids before they get out of high school and just showing them the love of Jesus. You're not forcing it down their throats.
And who are these kids?
Usually we are designated to like certain cities. And whatever city, there's a school that you're designated to there, and then ours happens to be Roosevelt.
Oh, sick. So you're in the heart of the city.
Yeah. So, and I like to try to expand everything. I wish I could go to Lincoln. I wish I could go to Garfield, but the Lord knows, so if He's going to open doors up, somehow we still get kids from those areas, so I still have contact with some. So they got one more year left, so I'm going to just keep trying and just trying to learn the scheduling thing, and I'm going to try to be more attentive to that. But I think the Lord's using the fishing, so they all like to fish, so like, just use it.
How do you balance, you know, your service with the kids, and you know you're married, and you guys are both serving? Like, where do you find time to make time for each other?
My beautiful wife, she's the upholder of that right now. Because, well, I want to pick up she has really good habits on organizing. And she's been really attentive to make sure everything's on paper and schedule. And so I kind of want to start taking the load off on my part for that. So I need to develop those skills that she has. Not fully, but the ones that are important for us, for these kids. So that and lots of prayer. I try to make sure I keep hearing God's word. I've been pretty attentive. I've been keeping my streaks up on my Bible app.
Look at you.
Yeah, because one of the guys, young guys that got into Young Life, he's a leader now. Dude, we did the what's that Christmas toy drive where we do the boxes?
Toys for Tots?
The other one, the one where you send the boxes out, you build them.
Oh, Operation Christmas Child.
Yeah, I went to my first one. I went with Chick-fil-A, and we took a couple of our coworkers. We all met up there, and he showed me his streak, and I thought I was like, I got a good 20 right now. And then he showed me his. He was like at 260 something, and I was like, bro, that's right.
Man, you ate that humble pie real quick.
Yes, big time. All of us did.
I'm at 20. This was at like
all of
almost
us did.
300.
Yeah, there was a bunch of us there, and everybody was like, oh, I've gotten this. I was like, what do you have it now? I was like, look at this guy. I was like, dude, I was so proud of him, bro. I was just like, that's right, bro.
That's sick.
Yeah, I love that encouraged me, so I'm pushing hard right now.
So what drew you guys to Young Life? Wanting to be connected with these kids, like, was there something in particular? Did you?
There was a girl at Chick-fil-A. Her name was Petra, and she
Petra?
She's really cool, cool artist. Yeah, she used to work on the prep area, and then we just met and we just hit it off, and then she was just like, hey, are you interested in being a leader? She's like, we really don't have guy leaders. And I was like, okay, sure, like, I'll give it a try. And then I met with the guy that was in charge of it. And then we just hit it off. We connected, and he was all for it. And then I came in right in the middle, and he's like, well, normally he's like, we have club, and that's the thing I told you we do at the school. But he's like, since we're already almost over, I'm just going to throw you into camp.
What the heck?
Because he was like, none of the guys know you. And it was the whole basketball team. So it was kind of like, he knew what he was doing though, because camps are special. You know that.
Yeah.
So like, he's like, you're going to basically get thrown in, but you'll get to meet everybody in this moment where you're just away with them. So it's kind of like, you'll build that connection. So when you come back, you'll know these guys.
It's kind of like trial by fire. They're just like,
yeah, and
you're thrown into it.
He trusted me enough that I could do it, and I was like, all right. So it was like Camp Ray. All right, let's do it.
Camp Ray.
That's what Felicia calls me. And
Ray.
So once I got in there though, I was like, whoa, this is a little different. This is pretty cool. It's just like our camps we're used to, but it's a little different. They build up to church. So like after like all these like games, activities, and they have their own camps all across the world, their own areas. It's their own property. This is their own stuff. They'll have like a speaker, and then he kind of slowly brings Jesus, and then it basically gets to an altar call on the last day. And so
instead of just immersing, people into a church, which a lot of them probably come out of, it's just kind of like.
Yeah.
You explain it better.
Yeah, I'll give you this was so weird. Like as soon as we get there, it's so weird how we would always start churches with worship, right? Mm-hmm. They get in there and they're singing Taylor Swift. Like the kids don't know. It's kind of like it's like a practice run of what they're expecting to get.
All right.
You know what I mean? Because the guys I took, they were all like, what is this? Like, why is everybody singing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, he's not going to go into 10,000 reasons. They're going to be like, what the heck?
So instead of just having being thrown into like a full church service, it's kind of like this is what it is essentially,
It's like at least we all get together, we sing, but this is how it looks. And then like towards the end, the songs change, and then they kind of get more intimate, and then they kind of get more into like what it is, and then like towards the last days, it's full. This is what Jesus has for you. This is what Jesus has done for you, and He loves you.
So when does Kanye West come out in all of
I know. I would think. You know what I really love about that whole camp thing?
This might burn for a second. Go ahead.
They have this thing called cabin time.
Uh-huh.
So after the message, we take our boys, and then the girls take the girls, and then we take them. And how my leader taught me is we sit them all down. We sit on the floor, and then we pass something around and let them talk. But we have a series of questions to ask them about what they heard. And then that's where everybody gets like really deep. And you get the kids just completely change. You know how that is.
Yeah. How long would you say from start to finish that, the walls of the kids start breaking down
First day.
First day?
Yeah.
Is there any story in particular that you can remember that without giving away the identities?
Yeah, you know what makes it real you know what I noticed what really makes it vulnerable is when the leaders like ourselves and the other grown men, when they get emotional and real about their story, then the kids kind of like, okay, this is safe for me to do. So then they just open up something personal, instantly. And then for us men, it's hard to get emotional sometimes. You're not used to breaking those walls down. So when they do it, I don't know. A lot of it comes out. There's a lot of dad things that come out, where there's dad's not there, or it's just personal stuff like that. But it gets pretty serious.
How do you relate to these kids? There has to be a couple of kids that you told your story to. Is there any?
I've been kind of been saving my stories at this time.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little different. I think being more attentive to them as just someone older that just wants to tell them hey, you're safe and I care about you. You have somebody here that can talk to you about things that you don't normally will talk to somebody about, especially the stuff that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like what we were talking about earlier about like being open about stuff that men don't usually talk about. Because I'm like, dude, everybody goes around the bush about stuff, and I'm like, dude, if you're hurting about something or something's like really bothering you, you're trying to get rid of, like, dude, just open up, just tell me. Like, you don't, I might not have been through everything, but I've been through some stuff, so I might be able to understand and relate to it.
How do you convey that to somebody who you don't know? Like, if you're going to a camp for the first time, like you said, how do you build? That's a pretty fast bridge to build with somebody.
Yeah.
So
usually, normally, when it's usually the questions are pretty intimate, and then it'll have a scripture based on it, and then it'll be like where did Jesus impact that situation, or how did Jesus fix that, or how did Jesus heal you from that, and then that's when you kind of give a short testimony. So usually, once you start opening up about something very deep or intimate, like I'll talk about like a lot of the struggles I've had with like I've struggles with. Sex, porn, drugs, anger. Anger's a big one with the young men.
I can imagine, yeah.
Especially with athletes, it's just they're competitive, they're aggressive, but they get a little too competitive, they get a little too aggressive. Because they always want to play basketball, and I could see the ones that are always ready to get into a fight. So
how do you know what goes on?
The guys will come and tell me. They'll be like,
they're just straight up.
They'll be like, hey, what's the name, guys? Start losing it. Like, check on him. Like, like just stand up like that. And I'm like, all right. And I pull him to the side. I'm like, what's up? Like, what happened? Are you good? And then if I see it's too emotional, like, that's another big thing I've been doing is just I give you a hug. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
take a breather.
You're safe, bro. Like, you're not in the hood right now. Like, that's the one thing I've had to tell a few boys. Where it's like, dude, you're away from everything. Like, you're not over there. Like, you're safe here. A lot of these kids don't know where you came from. So, like, enjoy it.
They don't have to put up that front here, right?
There's a lot of that. Anywhere you go, there's a lot of putting up a front. It's like, dude, just break that wall down. Like, it's okay. You're safe.
That's so hard to do, though. And especially if you're, like, a kid,
Yeah.
It's hard enough to express what you're feeling inside as an adult, but when you're, a kid, let alone a young teenage male...
Yeah.
Like, all you have is, like, your confidants and your friends, and most of the time it's bad advice on their part, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I remember when I used to work for a middle school, you start building relationships with the kids, and then sometimes it would be, like, in the homework part of the session where they would do their homework and I'm just kind of there babysitting, whatever. But they're having conversations, right? They're little adults.
Yeah.
But listening to what they're saying, especially like these two girls in particular, they were talking about a relationship that one of the girls had with another one of her middle school kids. And I was listening to what they were saying about what right relationship advice looks like, and I was like, "You're 13. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, that's probably that'll probably make me say the same thing. Like, come on. Well, you could hear some of that. I haven't really heard some of it, but there's drama like that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, there's drama. It's pretty cool. We have this thing there.
I'm gonna put you back.
Yeah, we have a one-on-one time there too with certain kids. Mm-hmm. So that's another time where they open up a lot.
What does that consist of? Just.
Well, I look at it as an opportunity to tell them, like, hey, are you willing to accept Jesus in your life? Mm-hmm. Do you want to ask for forgiveness? Do you want to I've been trying to be more attentive to that. That's like kind of my goal more.
What would you say to somebody like if they ask why would I want to accept Jesus into your heart? What would you say personally?
I'd say from my experience, you always want to be, open and willing to what God has for you. And I think if I had that sense of knowing how much God loved me when I was going through my stuff and my loneliness and my darkness, I think that would have put me in a better place. Because there was a lot of times I was just alone. Knowing my parents are doing their own thing, and I'm like, I'll relate that to them and just tell them, like, your situation might look different, but I don't want you to leave here without Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And then I care about your soul, and that's like the most important thing. Because I feel like life goes crazy, especially for these kids, because they go back into some pretty rough situations. So that's like my big thing. I'm trying to make sure that I'm attentive to let them know, like, just consider it, and I'll build it up, and then I'll come back and ask them again. Like, hey, like, everything you've done, it's okay. Like, you're forgiven. Like, Jesus loves you already for who you are. Like, he's gonna be there for you. And I always tell him this: let him take the wheel, give it to him. Like, honestly, like, for real, it's like, because that was what I did. And I relate that to them. Like, I was like, I thought I had control of everything. I was like, dude, the time I let it go and let him just take control, and I read and I heard and I sat with the people that he's using, like, dude, that changed my whole life. I wouldn't be here today if not. I mean, it's all in his hands, and I said, I want that for you. I don't want them to go out without that.
I agree, and it's so hard to convey that to an adult, but how do you convey that to a kid? I feel like sometimes it's easier for a kid, but because they haven't been jaded by life yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have like these preconceived notions all the time of, what it is, and like we were talking about earlier, it's like, people have an idea what God is or what he's about without actually ever knowing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The kids where I'm at, it seems they're a little, I don't know, they have a lot of stuff going on. I think the deeper we get into the area, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of, like, I don't know. A lot of them know, like, Catholicism stuff. So that there's another barrier you have to break, but they know some of it. They know Jesus is there. They know who he is.
What do you mean by barrier?
Because if you're starting to teach I had one kid, like, he was doubtful for everything that was going on because he's like, this is not the Jesus I'm used to at my church. He's like, where's Virgin Mary at? Kind of stuff. And I'm like, and I didn't want to, like, I'm going to try to break him down in the whole situation, but me and the other leader, any opportunity, he had just questions, we just had to be ready to answer. Kind of, in a way. Because he was asking, like, where's the Virgin Mary at?
And that's a good thing when people ask questions.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be shunned away. Like,
No. Yeah, that's why you don't want to be like, oh, well, don't believe in this. And you can't. You have to be a little more, how do you say, attentive to their need and where they're at, like you said. Yeah. So it's a lot of practice. I think the more you keep doing it, though, the more you keep getting used to it. And then you can be able to talk on their level, too. That's another thing. I
think that's perfectly said. I was listening to a message not too long ago, and the pastor was breaking it down. Like, the preface of the story was, if we're supposed to be called to make disciples of all nations, like, what does that look like? It means going out and talking to people and sharing the good news, right?
Yeah.
But the common thing is like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, I don't know how to speak. I don't know. Like, we have all these excuses. So the story that he was saying is about him and his son. His son's a teenager now. And he was saying that he was looking for something for him and his son to do before, he gets too old and, he wants nothing to do with his dad, So they go and they find this jiu-jitsu spot. And the son's like, hey, Dad, like, there's a jiu-jitsu spot over here. Let's sign up. And, his dad right away, he was saying, like, I'm 47. And I just got done watching this Clint Eastwood interview saying, like, how are you doing it so long? He's like, I think at that point, Clint Eastwood was like 127 when he did that interview. But the point is, like, how do you stay, like, motivated to do all things? And then Clint Eastwood told a reporter, like, don't let the old man creep in. Like, just stay active and do it. Like, the minute that you say, I can't do something, that's when you're done. So with that being said, like, he was all convicted when he was like, dude, I'm 47. I can't be rolling around doing jiu-jitsu, getting hurt, like, right now. So as soon as he said that in his mind, he was like, oh, snap. Like,
I just said
I gotta listen to Clint Eastwood.
He ain't wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
But when after the class, the whole point of the story was like, you suck at everything that you start the first, however long it takes. Some people excel quickly. Some people take some years just to learn the basic thing. But the point is, like, you need to actually do it. Because without doing it, you could read all about it. You could go through YouTube University. You could read all the books. Like,
you're right.
But without the actual practice, like, you're not going to get better, right? So it's like...
Facts. Yeah.
That was a cool story because, like, I think it applies not only to, like, our walk, but anything in life, you know what I mean? Like, you're always going to suck at something you begin with.
I suck at
everything.
I suck at everything, too. They suck big time, bro.
It was funny because I just figured out
that's cool.
33 episodes into the podcast how to do, like, YouTube clips.
Oh, really?
So I made a clip of one of the previous episodes.
That's cool.
And the first comment was like, I love the story, but the fade was trash.
Right, give me more then. Give me more.
You know what? I wasn't even mad. I was just like, I felt honored, dude. I was like, yes.
Yes, got a comment.
I got a comment.
I like that, though.
But it's true, man. Some people would let that be that the end all be all. Like, that's it. Some one person that I don't know said I sucked at it, and let them discourage you. You know what I mean?
I could see how that happened too. But you have the attitude of like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. So it's
don't.
Yeah, I'm just doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just learn as I go. Not the best at it, but just like fishing, bro. I don't know anything I'm doing out there, bro.
But the point is, you're out there and you're trying.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But if you want to go fishing, I will take you fishing.
I am down. Need to figure out how to balance, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Life is crazy busy right now.
Yeah. Busy's good. It's just make sure everything's moderated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, my guy.
Yeah, man.
Love you,
Appreciate
brother.
you having me.
Yes,
Lily, too.